You've had your say, you will have further says. There's something about a basic dignity. Just sit and listen. It's not about you, it's about the issue. And it's not about the honourable gentleman either, it's about the issue. Be quiet and listen. That's the end of it. It's not a request, it's an instruction.
But it's a shameful carry-on when a former chairman of the Conservative Party is whipped against to the extent she will not push that amendment to the vote. This House will be denied the chance to take no deal off the table. That's the truth of it, isn't it?
The Right Honourable Lady is a distinguished criminal barrister. Now I know what it's like to be cross-examined by her. But I also understand why lawyers are paid by the hour. I'm going to make a
Point of order, Anna Soubry.
Mr. Speaker, it's debatable as to whether I was ever a distinguished member of the bar, but I can tell the Right Honourable Gentleman, as a member of the criminal bar, we were never paid by the hour when I was at the bar. In fact, repeatedly, I worked pro bono, as many criminal barristers have to do, under his cuts.
Well, the Right Honourable Lady has put the facts on the record. I don't think we get into the subject of who's been remunerated how much, whether for legal work or penning articles in newspapers or whatever. I don't think we should get into that. That's just focused on the terms of the debate. And actually, I say to the Right Honourable Gentleman, in his own interest, the less said about that matter, the better.
Let it be crystal clear that the Secretary of State for the Home Department should be in this chamber answering this urgent question. For him to fail to be in the chamber on Thursday to make a statement about his new anti-knife crime initiative was at best ill-judged and at worst rank discourteous to the House of Commons. If the Right Honourable Gentleman was able to find time to brief or to ensure that others briefed the newspapers on his behalf, and he managed to scuttle off to do a radio interview and then to pop up on the Andrew Marr show yesterday to give viewers and the nation the benefit of his views, the Right Honourable Gentleman should have been here. And if the Secretary of State for the Home Department aspires to something a little more elevated than to be a jobbing functionary of the executive branch and wants to be a serious and respected parliamentarian, he has to develop antennae and respect for the rights of the House of Commons. In the circumstances, and he's had notice that he should be here, it is both ill-judged and rude of the Secretary of State for the Home Department to send his admittedly brilliant junior minister into the chamber when he should be here. I'm sorry, I take no view on the policy because that's not for the Speaker to do, but in procedural terms, it really is time that he upped his game. I have to say to the junior health minister, she tends to behave as though every exchange is somehow a conversation with her. If the government had wanted order, if the government had wanted, don't shake her head, if the government wanted to put the Honourable Lady up to answer, it could have done. It didn't. What I say in all courtesy to the Honourable Lady is sit there, be quiet, and if you can't do so, leave the chamber. We can manage without you.
Oh, I'm sorry, but there is a distinction between order. There is a distinction between a motion and an amendment. What the Right Honourable Gentleman says about a motion, I accept, but it doesn't relate to an amendment. That's the answer. So no, there is no further. Point of order, Mr. Kenneth Clark. Kenneth Clark. Point of order, Mr. Kenneth
Mr. Speaker.
As you will have heard today, there are some concerns about the decision that you've taken in the context of the House motion that's before us. And I wondered, therefore, if you could please confirm that your decision was taken with full advice from the Clerk of the House of Commons and other senior parliamentary advisers, and whether you might consider, under these circumstances, publishing that advice for the further...
Order.
The government pairing whip is on the right-hand side of your chair, and he has been frequently trying to orchestrate objections to your release.
All I want is an impartial chair.
Can I... Let me say this to the honourable gentleman, the member for Christchurch. So far as his last remark was concerned, I think I can cope with that. You know, government whips going about their business in their own ways, something to which the chair is very well and long accustomed. And... the notion that a government whip might now and again do things that are unhelpful to the chair is not entirely novel. I've got broad shoulders and I'm not going to lose any sleep over that. Never have done, am not doing so and never will.
And I then have a second point. If Mr. Speaker, I may come on to the second point, which is the precedential...
I've heard the honourable gentleman's first point, but I would like to hear his second.
We've all noticed in recent months a sticker in your car making derogatory comments about Brexit. No, this is a serious point about partiality. Have you driven that car with the sticker there?
Order. And I think the record will show, and I have the highest regard and affection for the honourable gentleman, that I've listened to all the points of order. The only reason why I interrupt him at this point, and I hope you'll forgive me doing so, is that there was a factual error in his opening remarks. I'm sure it was an inadvertent error, and I mean that most sincerely, but it was a factual error. The honourable gentleman said that in recent months it had been noticed that there was a sticker in my car. That sticker on the subject of Brexit happens to be affixed to or in the windscreen of my wife's car. Yes. And I'm sure the honourable gentleman wouldn't suggest for one moment that a wife is somehow the property or chattel of her husband. She is entitled to her views. That sticker is not mine, and that's the end of it.
But do you believe that it is in order for what appears to be becoming almost an orchestrated riot to take place?
Order. No, I'm sorry. Honourable and right... Order. Honourable and right honourable members have raised points of order, and they have been heard, and they have been answered. The notion that the right honourable lady stands to raise a point of order and is then shouted down is order. Don't know to me. That is exactly what an attempt was being made to achieve, and it's not going to work.
When are we going to start acting like public servants, doing the right thing and having the debate and getting on with it?
Well, I have the highest respect for the honourable lady, as she knows. I take on board what she says. and I don't dissent from it.